Hi, this is David Bratton from the David Bratton Company, and you are watching BLAQ Brilliance. When I was in college, Elder Timothy Wright, the Godfather of Gospel music, came to do a workshop at my college. I had learned all his music and I had taught all his music to the choir, and we were excited about him coming, and we did a workshop. And one of the rehearsals, I think it was a rehearsal Saturday morning before the concert, and whoever was picking up the musicians had picked them up late, and I was the only one there. I ran the rehearsal with him. He would call out the songs and I would play the songs. And after that rehearsal, he said, you know, I have to leave early tomorrow, Sunday morning, because I have to get back home. He said, but if you ever come to New York, look me up. Year and a half later, he asked me to come to a concert choir rehearsal. From that time on, he asked me if I would, be a musician for the concert choir. And I said, great, because this is Timothy Wright, he's the guy. He took me under his wing, and he very personally watched after our family, because we spent a lot of time in his apartment when he lived in Brooklyn. We knew all of his sons from the time they were in diapers, and they knew all of our kids. He and his wife were the godparents to our first child. Just very instrumental in our lives on so many levels. He was the one who made me start writing music. I was a musician, and in South Carolina, you learned other people's material and you learned it like the record. But when I got to New York, they were like, nah, you gotta write your own songs. I think it was the first New York Fellowship recording, and he said, you're gonna teach one of your songs, so be ready. And the next week I taught a song called Revelations 1, and that was the beginning of my days as a writer in gospel music. Elder Wright was very instrumental. I would not be in gospel music if it hadn't been for him. He actually knew us before we got married, and so he knows our lives from before we were, married, and he just knew a lot of avenues and just kind of walked us through life. His wife Betty was very instrumental in our lives and our children's lives. We thank God for them, because I am where I am today because of Elder Timothy Wright and his wife Evangelist Betty Wright. My life has been phenomenal. Working with Elder Timothy Wright has been a tremendous joy over the years, because he imparted so many things musically to me. And just my life in general, I have no complaints. I'm grateful to God for this journey, where it's been, where it is, and where it's going. And this is BLAQ Brilliance.